something just smashed into 3, I/ATLAS. And nobody saw it coming. September 23rd, 11:32 a.m. Deep space tracking stations detected an energy burst from 3 I/ATLAS that made instruments across 3 continents go haywire. Not the controlled propulsion signatures we'd grown accustomed to, but a chaotic explosion of electromagnetic radiation that suggested something catastrophic had just occurred. For 6 hours, 3 I/ATLAS went silent. No signals, no navigation corrections, no communication with the mysterious recipients throughout our solar system. Just empty space where the most studied object in human history should have been broadcasting its usual patterns. Then it reappeared on radar, but something was fundamentally different. The object was tumbling. Its perfect rotational stability, maintained with mechanical precision for months, had been shattered by an impact that defied every model of space debris and collision probability. But here's what makes it terrifying. Whatever hit 3 I/ATLAS wasn't there before. Deep space monitoring had clear observations of empty space around the object right up until the moment of impact. Then something materialized, collided and disappeared, leaving 3 I/ATLAS damaged and spinning out of control. What could strike an object traveling through supposedly empty space? Where did the impactor come from? And why are NASA officials meeting behind closed doors, speaking in whispers about collision characteristics that don't match anything in our understanding of physics? For now, what we know is this: 3 I/ATLAS, the mysterious visitor that had demonstrated perfect control and impossible technology for months, just got blindsided by something that apparently came from nowhere and hit with enough force to disrupt systems that had operated flawlessly across interstellar distances. The collision occurred at precisely 11:32:47 a.m. UTC, and the energy signature was unlike anything astronomers had ever recorded from a space impact event. Deep space radar showed 3 I/ATLAS following its normal trajectory when the collision occurred. One moment, clear space. The next moment, an explosion of energy that temporarily blinded multiple observation systems and sent electromagnetic pulses racing across the solar system. The energy release was equivalent to detonating several nuclear weapons, reported one tracking station operator, still shaking days later. But the signature was all wrong. Nuclear explosions have specific characteristics: radiation patterns, particle emissions, thermal profiles. This had none of those features. What made the collision impossible was the complete absence of any approaching object. High-resolution telescopes had been monitoring the space around 3 I/ATLAS continuously, watching for exactly this kind of event. The area was empty right up until the moment of impact. Objects don't just appear out of nowhere and collide with other objects, one orbital debris specialist explained during an emergency briefing. Space impacts require 2 objects on intersecting trajectories. We tracked 3 I/ATLAS perfectly, and there was nothing else in that region of space. The impact occurred from an angle that violated basic physics. Analysis of the energy patterns and 3 I/ATLAS's subsequent tumbling motion indicated the collision came from directly ahead, impossible for any natural object, since 3 I/ATLAS was traveling faster than anything that could approach from that direction. Whatever hit, it was moving in the opposite direction at tremendous velocity, calculated one collision dynamics expert. But our observations show empty space in that direction. Either something was completely invisible to all our detection methods, or something appeared at the moment of impact. The electromagnetic pulse generated by the collision contained frequencies and patterns that didn't match known collision physics. Instead of the chaotic energy release expected from high-velocity impacts, the signature showed organized structure that suggested controlled energy discharge rather than random destruction. It looked more like 2 technologies interacting than like a natural collision, observed one signals analyst. The energy patterns were too organized, too structured to be simple kinetic impact. But perhaps most disturbing was what happened in the seconds following impact. Instead of debris expansion and cooling that should accompany any collision, the energy signature intensified for several minutes before suddenly cutting off completely, as if the collision had triggered some kind of sustained reaction that then abruptly terminated. The aftermath revealed 3 I/ATLAS tumbling chaotically, its perfect rotational control destroyed by the impact. But spectroscopic analysis showed no debris field, no fragments, no trace of whatever had collided with it. The impactor had simply vanished, leaving only damage and unanswered questions. The search for what hit 3 I/ATLAS has revealed something that challenges our understanding of matter and detection technology. Every instrument designed to observe space objects found nothing until the moment of collision. Optical telescopes showed empty space. Radar arrays detected no approaching objects. Infrared sensors registered no heat signatures. Gravitational wave detectors measured no mass moving through the region. Yet something substantial enough to damage 3 I/ATLAS was clearly present and moving at tremendous velocity. We've checked and rechecked every observation system, one mission coordinator explained during a classified briefing. Multiple independent platforms, different detection methods, overlapping observation windows. They all agree there was nothing there to collide with. The mystery deepened when analysis revealed that the collision had occurred at the precise moment 3 I/ATLAS was scheduled to make another course correction. Tracking data showed the object preparing for one of its routine navigation adjustments when the impact disrupted the maneuver. The timing wasn't coincidental, concluded one trajectory analyst. Whatever hit 3 I/ATLAS knew exactly when and where it would be vulnerable. This wasn't a random collision, it was a planned intercept. But intercept by what? The complete invisibility of the impactor suggested technology that could render objects undetectable by any method humans had developed. Stealth capabilities that went beyond simple radar absorption or optical camouflage to complete concealment from all electromagnetic and gravitational detection. The impact angle provided additional clues that made the mystery even more disturbing. Computer models showed the collision came from a direction that would require the impactor to have been traveling faster than 3 I/ATLAS itself, impossible for any natural object in that region of space. The intercept geometry indicates an object moving at significant fraction of light speed, calculated one physicist studying the collision data. But objects moving that fast should be easily detectable due to their interaction with interstellar matter and space-time effects. Analysis of the electromagnetic pulse revealed something that made scientists reconsider everything they thought they understood about the collision. The energy signature contained information, structured data embedded within what appeared to be random collision effects. It's not just energy from impact, reported one signals processing expert. There's organized information in the collision signature as if the impact was designed to transmit data as well as cause physical damage. The data structure was complex enough to require the same AI translation systems that had decoded 3 I/ATLAS's original communications. When processed through those algorithms, the collision signature revealed a brief but clear message: mission parameters updated. Proceed with modified protocols. The collision wasn't an accident, it was a communication method. In the days following the collision, 3 I/ATLAS began exhibiting behaviors that suggested the impact had fundamentally altered its mission parameters. The perfect control and measured approach that had characterized its months-long journey was replaced by erratic maneuvers and accelerated timeline execution. The tumbling caused by the collision gradually stabilized, but not to the previous rotational pattern. 3 I/ATLAS established a new spin rate and orientation that optimized different communication angles and observation geometries than before. It's not trying to return to its original configuration, observed one tracking specialist. The new orientation suggests different operational priorities, as if the collision updated its mission objectives. More disturbing were the changes in communication patterns. Before the collision, 3 I/ATLAS had maintained regular, predictable transmissions to its 17 recipients throughout the solar system. After the impact, the communications became sporadic, encrypted differently, and transmitted to new coordinates that hadn't been active before. "It's talking to someone else now," concluded one signal's intelligence analyst. The collision didn't just damage it physically, it changed who it's reporting to and what kind of information it's sharing. The damaged object also began a series of course corrections that significantly altered its approach trajectory toward Earth. Instead of the gradual, energy-efficient path it had maintained for months, 3I/ATLAS was now burning enormous amounts of energy to achieve a more direct route. The new trajectory sacrifices fuel efficiency for speed, noted one orbital mechanics expert. It's acting like something that needs to complete its mission quickly, regardless of energy costs. The acceleration brought the arrival date forward again, from October 12th to October 8th. But unlike the previous timeline changes, this acceleration appeared desperate rather than calculated, as if the collision had introduced urgency that overrode careful mission planning. Energy signatures from the object showed systems operating at levels far beyond previous observations. Components that had remained dormant throughout the journey were now fully active, drawing power and generating heat signatures that suggested preparation for operations that hadn't been planned originally. "It's activating backup systems and emergency protocols," reported one thermal analysis specialist. "The behavior suggests damage control and mission adaptation rather than normal operational procedures." But perhaps most unsettling was the complete cessation of the gradual, systematic intelligence gathering that had characterized 3I/ATLAS's previous activities. The careful scanning and data collection was replaced by focused, intensive observation of specific targets on Earth. "It's not studying us comprehensively anymore," observed one behavioral analyst. "It's focusing on particular locations and activities with the intensity of something that needs specific intelligence quickly." The collision raises questions that have intelligence agencies scrambling to understand who or what has the capability to intercept objects traveling through interstellar space using completely invisible technology. The precision required for such an intercept was staggering. The impactor had to calculate 3I/ATLAS's position, velocity, and planned course corrections with perfect accuracy, then position itself for collision at exactly the right moment and location, all while remaining completely undetectable by human observation systems. "This represents technology that makes 3I/ATLAS look primitive," admitted one aerospace engineer during a classified Pentagon briefing. "Whatever organization sent that interceptor has capabilities that exceed even the advanced systems we've been observing." The complete stealth characteristics suggested a level of technological sophistication that operated beyond current human understanding of physics. Not just advanced materials or energy systems, but fundamental manipulation of how matter interacts with electromagnetic radiation and gravitational fields. But who possessed such technology? The obvious answer was that 3I/ATLAS's own creators had sent the interceptor, perhaps to update mission parameters or correct course deviations that weren't apparent to human observers. "Internal communication and course correction," suggested one xenotechnology specialist. "They might routinely update their deep space missions using intercept protocols that avoid electromagnetic detection by primitive civilizations." But analysis of the collision data revealed something more disturbing. The interceptor's approach, trajectory, and impact characteristics didn't match 3I/ATLAS's propulsion signatures or construction methods. It appeared to represent different technology from a different source. "We're looking at evidence of at least two distinct technological civilizations operating in our solar system," concluded one strategic analyst. 3I/ATLAS represents one group, and whatever sent the interceptor represents another. The implications were staggering. Humanity wasn't just dealing with one extraterrestrial intelligence conducting reconnaissance. Multiple civilizations with different technologies and possibly different objectives were operating in Earth's immediate vicinity. The timing of the intercept also suggested that whoever sent the invisible impactor had been monitoring 3I/ATLAS's mission and decided to intervene at a critical moment. But whether the intervention was meant to help or hinder 3I/ATLAS's objectives remained unclear. Intercept operations require significant intelligence about the target's mission, capabilities, and vulnerabilities, noted one military strategist. Whoever sent that interceptor knows a lot about 3I/ATLAS and chose to act at precisely the moment when intervention would be most effective. The complete invisibility suggested technology that could observe human detection capabilities and adapt concealment methods accordingly. The interceptor hadn't just been hidden, it had been specifically designed to avoid detection by Earth-based observation systems. They know what we can see, and they know how to avoid being seen, observed one sensor technology expert. This indicates detailed intelligence about human capabilities gathered over extended observation periods. With 3I/ATLAS now arriving on October 8th instead of October 12th, governments worldwide face an even more compressed timeline to prepare for an encounter whose nature has become completely unpredictable following the mysterious collision. The damaged object's erratic behavior and accelerated approach eliminated any remaining hope for careful, methodical preparation. Emergency protocols designed for the October 12th timeline were hastily recalibrated for arrival that was now just 15 days away. We lost 4 days of preparation time and gained a completely unknown set of variables, admitted one emergency coordinator during a joint agency briefing. The collision changed everything about what we think we're preparing for. The change in 3I/ATLAS's communication patterns meant intelligence agencies could no longer intercept and analyze its transmissions to understand mission objectives. The object had essentially gone dark from human observation, operating according to protocols that were no longer accessible to AI translation systems. "We're flying blind now," acknowledged one signals intelligence director. The collision didn't just damage 3I/ATLAS, it cut off our primary source of intelligence about what it's planning to do when it arrives. Military preparations intensified as the possibility of hostile intervention became more likely. The collision suggested that 3I/ATLAS was operating in an environment where conflict was possible, and whatever had intercepted it might represent opposition to its mission. If there are competing extraterrestrial factions operating in our solar system, Earth could become a battlefield, warned one strategic planner. We need to prepare for scenarios involving multiple technologically superior opponents with different objectives. Space-based observation assets were repositioned to monitor both 3I/ATLAS and the possibility of additional invisible objects in Earth's vicinity. The complete stealth capabilities demonstrated by the interceptor meant that human detection systems were inadequate for identifying threats that could appear without warning. But perhaps most challenging was the psychological impact on those aware of the situation. The collision had transformed the 3I/ATLAS encounter from a controlled contact scenario into an unpredictable crisis involving unknown actors with incomprehensible capabilities. We went from preparing for first contact to preparing for intervention in an interstellar conflict, observed one policy advisor. The collision made clear that Earth is already part of someone else's operational theater, whether we understand it or not. Emergency plans were updated to account for multiple scenarios involving different combinations of extraterrestrial actors. Communication protocols were prepared for potential contact with either 3I/ATLAS, the interceptor's controllers, or other parties that might reveal themselves during the October 8th encounter. The collision and its aftermath revealed something that shocked even the most classified intelligence circles. Earth has been under comprehensive surveillance by multiple technological civilizations for far longer than anyone suspected. Analysis of the interceptor's approach trajectory and timing revealed that it had perfect knowledge of not just 3I/ATLAS's mission parameters, but also of human observation capabilities and emergency response protocols. This suggested surveillance of Earth that had been ongoing for months or possibly years. The interceptor knew exactly when our telescopes would be looking and from which directions, revealed one counterintelligence specialist during a restricted briefing. It avoided detection not through superior stealth technology alone, but through detailed knowledge of our observation schedules and sensor limitations. But the surveillance went deeper. Investigation of the collision's electromagnetic signature revealed embedded data that included references to specific Earth locations, military installations, and communication networks. The interceptor hadn't just been monitoring 3 I/ATLAS, it had been systematically cataloging human civilization. We found GPS coordinates in the collision data, admitted one cryptanalysis expert. Not just general locations, but precise references to underground facilities that aren't supposed to exist in any database accessible to external observation. The revelation triggered an immediate audit of global detection networks that uncovered disturbing patterns in sensor data going back 18 months. Subtle anomalies that had been dismissed as equipment malfunctions or atmospheric interference now revealed themselves as evidence of sophisticated monitoring by multiple invisible platforms. "They've been watching everything," concluded one strategic intelligence director. "Our communications, our military movements, our technological development." The collision wasn't just about intercepting 3 I/ATLAS, it was about revealing how completely we've been compromised. Deep space monitoring stations reported discovering previously undetected energy signatures scattered throughout the solar system. Faint emissions that had been filtered out as background noise were actually low-level transmissions between observation posts that had been operating undetected in Earth's vicinity. "We count at least 43 distinct signal sources," reported one radio astronomy specialist. "They're positioned to provide complete coverage of Earth's orbital space and major communication channels. We've been living inside an observation network without knowing it existed." The implications were staggering. Every major government decision, every military exercise, every technological breakthrough had been monitored and reported to unknown recipients. Earth's strategic information had been flowing to extraterrestrial intelligence networks that had comprehensive knowledge of human capabilities and vulnerabilities. "Our operational security has been completely compromised for over a year," acknowledged one national security advisor. Whatever civilizations are operating in our solar system know more about our defensive capabilities than most of our own governments do. But perhaps most disturbing was the discovery that the surveillance network had been selectively interfering with human observations. Certain astronomical discoveries had been suppressed through precisely timed equipment failures. Specific research projects had been disrupted through targeted electromagnetic interference. "They haven't just been watching," noted one research security specialist. "They've been managing what we're allowed to discover about their presence and activities. We've been living in a controlled information environment designed to keep us unaware of the scope of extraterrestrial operations in our vicinity." The collision had stripped away that controlled environment. For the first time in over a year, humanity could see the true scope of the forces operating around Earth. And the picture was terrifying. 15 days remain until 3 I/ATLAS reaches Earth's orbital vicinity. But now the approach feels less like anticipated contact and more like waiting for the resolution of a conflict we don't understand between powers we can't comprehend. The damaged object continues its accelerated approach, consuming energy at rates that suggest desperation rather than careful mission execution. Systems that should have lasted for years are being burned through in days, as if 3 I/ATLAS is racing to complete objectives before something prevents it from doing so. "It's acting like something under threat," observed one behavioral analysis specialist. "The energy expenditure and timeline compression suggest it's trying to accomplish mission goals before interference makes completion impossible." Deep space monitoring detects increasing electromagnetic activity from 3 I/ATLAS as systems prepare for operations that remain completely unknown. The damage from the collision hasn't reduced its capabilities. It's triggered activation of backup systems that might be more powerful than the original equipment. Intelligence agencies prepare for scenarios involving multiple extraterrestrial actors with potentially conflicting objectives regarding Earth. The collision demonstrated that 3 I/ATLAS wasn't operating alone in empty space, and whatever intercepted it might also have plans for the October 8th encounter. "We're not just preparing for one visitor anymore," admitted one emergency management director. "The collision revealed that our solar system contains multiple technological civilizations and they're not necessarily working together." Amateur astronomers report increasing visibility of 3I/ATLAS as it approaches, but also note anomalous objects appearing and disappearing in the vicinity of the main target. The invisible interceptor technology might represent just one example of stealth capabilities being employed by various actors. Social media monitoring detects growing public awareness that something unusual is approaching Earth, despite official attempts to maintain information security. The truth becomes harder to suppress as the object grows brighter and more easily observable with civilian equipment. Emergency broadcast systems prepare for potential public disclosure of multiple extraterrestrial presences operating in Earth's vicinity. The collision has made it impossible to present the encounter as simple scientific contact with a single visitor. In 15 days, 3I/ATLAS will arrive in Earth's orbital vicinity, but now it comes as a damaged, desperate object racing to complete unknown objectives while potentially being hunted by invisible opposition that demonstrates even more advanced technology. The encounter will occur not in the controlled, scientific environment originally anticipated, but in the context of an interstellar conflict that involves powers whose capabilities and motivations remain completely beyond human understanding. Watch the skies, because on October 8th, we won't just be witnessing first contact with extraterrestrial intelligence, we'll be observing the climax of a cosmic conflict that's been playing out in our solar system while we remained unaware of the forces maneuvering around our planet. 15 days until Earth becomes the focal point of interactions between civilizations that treat interstellar travel as routine and invisibility as standard technology. And we still don't know whether we're witnesses, targets, or simply obstacles in the path of powers that will determine our planet's future without consulting us about their decisions.